you want us to do? Like, we already at attention?
You're on.
There's a stench in this barrack, cadets. Anyone know what I'm talking about?
Sir, no, sir.
Oh, I'm quite sure someone knows what I'm talking about. You see, I feel deceived. I feel like someone threw me in a latrine and took a crap all over my face, and I do not want to smell like shit. So can someone explain why I feel this way? You see, I'm getting information that's hard to believe is true. Can you help me? Franks?
Sir, I hesitate to articulate for fear that may...
Here we go again.
What happened?
This nigga is a
Tapes
hilarious.
are rolling, tapes are rolling. I'm not even gonna get you a cue. Get your, compose yourself.
The reptilian. The reptilian.
I can't help it.
When I saw him laugh.
Focus up, everybody. Quiet on the set. Anybody who's not down with the play shouldn't be talking at all. All right, focus up. Start when you're ready.
There's a stench in this barrack, cadets. Anyone know what I'm talking about?
Sir, no, sir.
Oh, I'm quite sure someone knows what I'm talking about. You see, I feel deceived. I feel like someone threw me in a latrine and took a crap all over my face, and I do not want to smell like shit. So can someone explain why I feel this way? You see, I'm getting information that's hard to believe is true. Can you help me? Franks?
Sir, I hesitate to articulate for fear that I may deviate from the true course of rectitude, sir. In short, I don't understand the major's question, sir.
Oh, you don't understand? Well, listen to me. I just came from the field and was informed by an officer that after this morning's exercises, someone went back to the field and took the liberty of touching and interfering with the maintenance of one of my PT-17 aircraft.
Sir, that was me, sir.
Did I tell you to speak?
Sir, no,
then
sir.
why are you talking?
I'm sorry, sir.
And you're still
Yes,
talking.
sir. No, sir, I didn't mean
Shut
to...
it down. I was told that someone from this barrack took it upon themselves to change the outer surface on the wings of one of my PT-17. And since the culprit's been kind enough to identify himself and messing around with it, do you mind telling me why? What are you, deaf, cadet? I asked you a question.
Sir, the major said not to speak, sir.
Oh, so now you're one of them smart Negroes, huh?
Well, I did score a 98 on the entrance exam, sir.
I scored a 98 as well, sir. 99, sir.
99 as well, sir.
98, sir.
100, sir.
100? Well, let's get something straight. High test scores mean shit when you're up in the air, and do not evade my question, cadet.
I did work on outer
Are you a
wings,
mechanic?
Sir, no, sir.
Would you like to leave our program, cross the street, and start training with the
Sir,
mechanics?
no, sir. My dream is to fly, sir.
Your dream?
So, yes, sir. Permission to speak freely, sir.
This ought to be good. Go.
Sir, it's the wings. In the cockpit, they have so much fabric on them, it just don't seem safe. Some of the pilots have been complaining that rain has been dripping down, coming into the plane and affecting their visuals. So, I remember that this concoction that I made back at home when I built the treehouse for my little nephew. See, he always...
treehouse?
Sir, yes, sir. See, it's a process we call doping. See, you take a rag and...
Doping?
Well, I guess the proper way to say it is take a rag and dab, but we call it doping, sir.
Sir, Southern folks have their own language, sir.
Proceed, cadet.
Well, sir, I remember that I made this tough, sticky, glue-like material. Out of salt, sugar cane, I mixed in a couple tablespoons of old-fashioned syrup and a little water. It created something hard as a brick, so I remembered that. And I made a batch. And I laid it out over the wings, and I made that fabric just lay down. Become real tough, airtight, and waterproof too, hell. Lieutenant Jones said he made his plane fly better.
Lieutenant Jones crashed and burned 30 minutes ago. You are not a mechanic. You learn how to fix, but do not touch. Is that clear?
Sir, yes, sir.
Is that clear?
Sir, yes, sir.
I feel like this whole experiment is a waste of the U.S. military money, and not to mention my time. And what just happened out there is proof of it. So far, 35 crashes, 22 been kicked out, and don't get me started on the 75 that quit and went crying home to mama. We're gonna have 6 more? As you can see, this is not gonna be a cakewalk. We live in the air, we die by fire. That is our credo. And if it's too much for you to handle, Cadet Franks, the door's to your rear. We are at war, gentlemen. Do not forget that. You take this training very serious, because the man next to you's life depends on it. Now, I'll do my job to get you ready if, and that's a huge if, the War Department decides to send you overseas with the rest of our boys, but you will respect what I say, and you will respect the U.S. Army Air Forces. Is that clear?
Sir, yes, sir.
Now, you boys have a whole lot of work in front of you starting bright and early. Get some rest, as you were.
So what the hell are you trying to do? Get yourself kicked out, or better yet, us?
I was just trying to help, that's all.
Well, your help got someone killed.
I don't believe that. I saw him fly that plane after we worked on the wings. When he came down, he told me how good the plane flew.
Well, he's dead now. We can't have any mistakes.
How are we supposed to learn, huh? They won't even let us touch the planes.
In time.
How much time? How much longer are we supposed to sit in those classrooms, huh? They go over the same damn thing.
Until it sinks deep inside.
I don't know how much deeper it can get.
Look, we gonna get our chance, all right? And when we do, we got to be mentally ready.
I just sort of like walk off. I was like, well, I'll take my plan.
It's like, I'll stay. See? Hello?
I'm sorry, man. I started smiling out here when I saw you. I know you did. You started coming at things. Oh, I mean,
I hate being on side of you just now.
did you
laughing the whole time.
I need to go again for y'all.
No, I do, because when you started
Now, that was hilarious. I could not.
I was cool, I was holding.
Tapes are still rolling. We need you at center stage. Turn to the center camera.
right here.
This one? Boom. All right.
No, don't walk in front of any camera ever.
Yeah.
Quiet on the set. Coming up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Your mic.
A man stands here before you. A man, mind, body, and soul. But the body is tired, so tired. Those were his words. In the flesh I stand. That's what he said. I remember my soul feels in my body, well, body is tired. Free man. You see, I believe in the principle that all men are created equal. There was a time in this country when an African-American man was considered nothing more than a doormat for a dog to do his business. So I'm going to tell it to you. It was told to me. You got to understand that there's a difference between racism, segregation. The dictionary defines racism as people with racist beliefs who might hate certain groups of people according to their racial groups, or simply the hatred of one person to another. Now, segregation is defined as the separation of racial groups in daily life, such as eating in a restaurant or drinking from a water fountain, using a restroom, attending school, going to the movies. But back then, it's just plain called a Jim Crow. Now you listen closely, because I'm going to tell it just like it was told to me. Jim Crow. I ain't talking about no real person, nah, no sir. For the majority of African Americans, especially those living in the South, the terror of Jim Crow meant that they were forced to live behind the veil, in the words of W.E.B. Du Bois. And many people had in their minds that African Americans weren't equal to whites on any level, including the United States Air Forces or the United States Army Air Forces, as they were called after they changed it from the Army Air Corps in 41. Many people said they integrated the Air Forces. Shoot, they integrated us into the Air Forces. Didn't want to either. They did a study, back then the United States Congress did, on the Negro soldier. That's what they called us, Negroes. Said he was lazy, had a small brain, that there was no way he could ever learn to do high-tech work, especially fly a plane. Well, you just sit there. Listen closely, because I'm going to tell it to you just like it was told to me, just like it was told to me.
Pretty good, man. You actually can act a little bit.
A little bit. Slow back, slow back, slow back. Slow back. So do we need to set the chairs up for the interview? Yeah. All right, let's set the chairs up, guys.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. This is Shanti, and I'm speaking to you from Manhattan Neighborhood Network, introducing you to the cast of the Black Angels over Tuskegee. Now, we're going to show some highlights of the play by way of introducing you to the gentlemen. And I want to start off with providing an open forum as opposed to just doing something like a Q&A. But I do want to introduce the writer, director, producer of this incredibly beautiful performance or play, and that is Leon Gray.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for having us here, Shanti. We're excited.
Yeah, you're no more excited than we are. Sorry for all the delay that we've gone through, but you've been in sports and it's worth the wait. You're so talented.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what we want from you guys is a discussion about how you got involved in this, what's been like in forming the relationships that you formed in the play, because I saw this play essentially as really the development of relationships, very significant relationships. And what happened in your own interaction as a team? What kind of relationships did you forge? Some of you may have known each other. I assume you're not part of. Are you all a repertory? I mean, are you always together?
Yes, we are. Tom, want to elaborate?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sure. I'm Tom Scott. I'm the managing director
Hi
of.
there, Tom. It's a
Hello,
pleasure.
Shanti.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having us on the show.
Oh, thanks for coming.
Our theater company is called the Black Gents of Hollywood. We're an entertainment company based out of Los Angeles, California. Our mission is to provide quality entertainment through the arts while offering outreach to the community and uplifting our youth. We want to resurrect and redefine the depiction of black males, and we're trying to do that through our first medium is through the stage. You'll see some stuff coming from us as well as a film, as well as television and internet coming shortly. But right now we're working on this project, Black Angels Over Tuskegee, which is our sophomore project. We've been in New York for 8 months since January, off Broadway at the Actors Temple, which is on 339 West 47th Street.
And how much longer do you think the play is going to run?
Currently, we're scheduled to be on off Broadway until October 31st.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful run thus far. We've had
When did it start?
January 31st was or January 15th was our first preview.
Yeah. It was originally supposed to go 4 weeks, and here we are 8 months later.
We kept getting renewed.
Yeah, as long as people keep coming, we'll keep doing it.
And well, we hope that
We'll
this
be here
happens.
well after October 31st.
Yeah.
Yes, at the rate it's going great.
Yes.
Great. Okay. I want to introduce you to my co-host. This is Nat Wood, and Nat's
Nat?
behind the scenes as
All
as
right.
well as in front.
Pleasure to meet you, Nat.
Pleasure to be met by you. There's a couple of questions. I'm going to get to you because in this particular endeavor, you are the grand sensei. I'm going to come back to you. But you said something. You said that you guys were a repertory ensemble. How do you add pieces to the puzzle? Because I know I've seen you guys, like at least some of you before, and I know at least one or two of you are new. How do you add people to the ensemble? Do they hear about you?
Yeah, well, I think the basis or the impetus of how our group was formed was Leon came up with an idea to really focus on the black male, because if you look at television right now and you see the black male, they don't have prominent roles and they don't have good stories out there about us. So we wanted to really kind of focus on that. And so when Leon came up with the Black Gents of Hollywood, it actually started on a play that we had done a couple years back in New York called We Be I Me.
Right.
And there were 8 of us that actually are considered founding members of our theater company. Currently here, myself, Leon and Lamont are founding members, as well as part of the board of the Black Gents of Hollywood. And just along the way, we found that there are numerous African American males that not only are good actors but businessmen and want to do things in the community. So that's kind of the baseline of the type of people that we're looking for to make a change in our community.
You're humble. I mean, you cats are bad. I mean, I mean that sincerely.
Oh, we appreciate that.
You are fantastic performers.
Thank you.
And it doesn't seem to be so simple a process as just, getting someone who's good at business and I mean, to fit in with this group, you got to be bad to the bone. How do you attract this kind of
well, I mean,
personnel?
I think you're saying actually 2 things at the same time. I mean, I think that's that's kind of the dichotomy. I mean, not everybody is that special, so to speak, but at the same time, everybody's that special, and that's kind of we're trying to prove both points, which is to be accessible to everybody, for this opportunity to be accessible to all the dynamite and dynamic young men that are out there, but at the same time letting people know you can't be here and sustain and maintain this level of excellence that we require unless you're exemplary and you can demonstrate that you plan to do more than be just a normal or regular or everyday cat, because we're going to demand more of you, the work demands more of you, and most importantly, the community and our audiences demand more of you. So it's a combination of, really trying to have our outreach and our expanse be as broad as possible, and at the same time, let people know that, hey, this is for the chosen few. Right. Not everybody is really cut out. Not everybody is cut out to do what we do, and it's exactly what the play is about as well. As you hear, through the context and the content of the play, a lot of people had access, but not everybody made it all the way to Tuskegee. And even in the process of having access, there were people that were weeded out because they decided not to come as far as Utah just to take that test. So at every stage, there are different ways of kind of cutting the fat and narrowing it down to who's actually really willing to do the work. So to be part of this ensemble, you got to really be willing to do the work. So.
What is the work?
It's a lot.
Yeah,
aside from the, we were just joking about our inaugural piece, which was We Be I Me, just the physical demands of that piece. We were joking about here. We were earlier reenacting some of it, and we're like, whew, just by doing a few minutes of it. And that was start to finish 2 hours straight. I mean, all 8 men were on stage the entire time. There were no taking scenes off and taking moments off, really. So there's a physical and an athletic, demand. There's a conditioning that comes along with that. We were teasing D-Rob, who's one of our newer guys, about carrying the duffel bags and calling him the rookie and stuff like that. Right. So, I mean, even asking guys to do more than just show up and be actors. We're doing the physical work of moving set pieces and carrying wardrobe and, doing the PR and marketing and, hitting the street. I mean, me and Tom were out in the hot sun, hitting the pavement like we're, you know, street team. And here we are, two of the founders of this company. We're executives, you know, but yet we're on the street, on the block, in the hot sun, just like anybody else.
Who found you?
Well, I guess we can give that credit to Leon, but I think that's part of it. We kind of found each other,
right?
You know, yeah, we kind of found each other, and that's part of the joy of it is that when you like minds gravitate to one another. But Leon actually was the forefather of another company called LA Rep,
which was men and women, and I guess I was greedy. I just took the men from that company and formed an all-male company. But and just, you know, talking a little bit on the work, like when I first created this piece, I mean, you know, the rehearsals were from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. Everybody didn't want to do that, you know. That's a good moment when we can just go, there's no noise or anything, you could just go and do the work. A lot of actors wasn't willing to do that, so that's where you separated the men from the boys.
That's 2006.
Who decided on the Tuskegee play?
I did. Well, it's interesting because, you know, I'd always been fascinated by these gentlemen, you know, and just on research on myself, because this material isn't in textbooks. I didn't learn it in high school, you know, and even to this day, kids today don't know about the Tuskegee Airmen unless they ask, because it's not in our textbooks. But I just happened to be watching television one day, and they were finally receiving the Congressional Medal of Honor.
All that time. Yeah,
exactly.
I saw that.
You know, I'm just sitting there watching these elder gentlemen get up, you know, some in canes and wheelchairs, and walk up to the stage and receive these medals. And I was like, wow, you know, I had never seen it on stage. I seen it as a film, but I cannot remember anyone doing it on stage. And right then I said, you know what, I want to tell this story on stage. So that's when I sat down, wrote a draft in a few days, presented it to the gentlemen in the play, because within the group, all the actors in the group, I know each of their strengths and their disadvantages, so it was easy for me to curve roles toward their best abilities.
Brilliantly executed.
Thank you. So, you know, I wrote a draft, we had a reading, we read it, you know, they had feedback, you know, everybody wasn't feeling the first draft of it, you know, it was more teaching instead of it being performed. So that's when I went back that night. One night, wrote a whole new draft of it, came back the next day, and everybody was like, okay, all right, we can work with this. So we started developing it in 2008. Yeah, in 2008, and then actually went up to win an NAACP award that year, and last year, the players went through so many channels, so many circles, from going to the National Black Theater Festival, which is an incredible event, and then performing at the National Tuskegee Airmen Convention in Vegas, which is one of my times as a writer, the most scariest times, because here you got, you know, these gentlemen, you know, who went through everything that we're doing our best to portray. You know, I always say we can never walk in their shoes, so we have to do our best to try to just at least present what they went through. And here they are sitting there like, just watching, you know, just watching the play, you know, and at the end, you know, it was a roar of applause. And I always tell everybody when I'm interviewed, and they always ask me about that time, and I always say, one of the airmen came up and he said, you told the story right. He was like, you told it right. And, you know, for me, that truly, truly touched me as a writer. And now we have their approval. They love us. Literally, they love us.
Well, very understandable.
Yeah.
What's more difficult, writing the story or character development? Because you have so many unique characters in the things that you guys do. There's a bunch of you guys, and each one, you know, really has a strong character. And the story just writing the story would seem to be a process, because you have stories within stories within stories. To make this whole thing
come together.
What's more difficult?
Yeah, we were just having this discussion the other day, Thaddeus, David, and myself, about these characters, about, you know, which character could possibly be the lead in the piece. And I say, you know, they're all leads. You could take each of these characters out and create a play about each and every one of them. And I knew in telling the story, you know, that I wanted to talk about
brotherhood. I didn't want to talk so much as about all of their accomplishments because you can go on the internet and find that out.
Right.
I want to give the audience something that they may not know about, which is what could have possibly happened behind closed doors.
Right.
You know, the fights, the bickering, the separation of coming together as one to create one love, one brotherhood. And I knew that's the angle I wanted to go with the piece. And in going at that angle, I know each of them had to be separate and different in their own entities.
Right, right.
Actually, he had coined, I'll quote him, he had coined this, this process of Black Angels Over Tuskegee as historical fiction. I thought that was clever.
Yeah, so it's a really dynamite combination of, you know, a lot of factual information, factual events. You're really getting a strong history lesson, and at the same time, you don't even really realize you're being given a history lesson because you're engaged, fully engaged the entire time, and primarily because of what you said, the actual characters, you know, the people that you're getting to know. And because those people are engaging, because their relationships and these bonds that you see forming right in front of you are interesting, the conflicts that you see happening are, you know, engaging. You're just engaged in what's going on, and by the time it's all over, you realize you've absorbed all this information as well as been, you know, pulled in emotionally and everything else. So you identify with certain people. You
people
identify.
Who weren't even
I mean,
on
every
the
single
set,
one of these
like,
guys, you know everybody in this
referring
play.
to his wife.
Yeah.
You leave the play feeling like you know this
That's
woman,
right.
even
That's
though
right.
this woman was never physically on the stage
and
at all.
And that's Leon's brilliance. He's always been able to do that, and that's one of the things I can definitely say about him. And again, even going back to We Beyond Me, I mean, and again, that really is also not just a tribute to his gift, but really the talents of all of these guys, because that takes a very special skill to take something from the page and then to actually make it three-dimensional, and then to actually pull people in and to have them like you, really dislike you, especially in his case, and at the same time, in his case, dislike you and then like you kind of at the same time. Him too. And to see that evolution and to see this whole arc of a character and to have, you know, to give it layers and all this texture and everything. I mean, you know, that's kind of what we do. I mean, everybody goes through things. I mean, you see, you know, what Dave Wendell Boykins does with his character, and, you know, you just see all this kind of different growth and people's interests and their hobbies and, you know, people's accents, and these guys come from all different parts of the country, and, you know.
And even the slackers were like a 98, 99.
Right. That's right. You're right. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm a big slacker. I'm a big slacker.
And there's so many lessons even in that. Like, I mean, if you really, like, the other day I paid attention to the fact that the entire time he never puts that book down. So it's kind of like there's a lesson in that even. Like, even though you might not like him as a person, if you want to get 100% on your exam, you better follow his example. You know, there's a certain value in having his sensibility in everything that you do. That if you really pay attention to him and really listen to a lot of stuff that he says, he's speaking a lot of sense most of the time.
Actually, he's speaking
not
a lot
all the time. Right.
In fact, he's the one that's sitting up there saying, "Look, y'all need to take this seriously." He's the one that we are depicting. He is the reason why
really
this
is
play
the model of
Voices
excellence.
we need
He's
to
the
have
purest
when
model
we're-
of excellence.
When we're raising black men.
That's right. Right.
You know.
Oh, that's a whole nother can of worms. Exactly.
That's terrific. I want to shift the focus a little bit more, if I may, because a lot of what you've been talking about is for an audience that hasn't seen the play yet and may not be following what we're talking about.
Nice little teasers.
Yeah, more than teasers. No, it's really a nice taste. I wanted to get a talk with you, Steve, if I might, because you're the only white guy in the room. And Jewish
What better
too.
reason?
But really, are you part of this ensemble?
Well, yeah, I'm there. I'm there.
How did you break the color barrier?
Affirmative action.
Welcome to our world, Steve.
There you go. There you go.
You're the Jackie Robinson of the Jets.
The white guy that integrated
I
the
gotta
Negro
tell
League.
you, someone asked me, we've done a bunch of interviews, and somebody had asked me, you know, why did you take this role? And I answered, because it was offered to me. Because most actors know, anytime you can get work, you do it. But this role and this show actually has been very, very special because I have a military background. My dad was in World War II when this takes place. and my son is presently a soldier in the United States Army. He did 2 tours in Iraq, and right now he's in Afghanistan. So the military theme had a special feeling for me. And when I went in here and I auditioned for these guys, you always think you do your best, and you got your fingers crossed and you hope. Right. And the next thing you know, I get a call from Leon, called back, and then you go up. You know, it's really like, it's such a team thing. You kind of get thrown into the fire, and then you got to earn your stripes. Right. And the first couple of shows, you know, you're kind of nervous, and it doesn't go as well as you'd like. Right. And then all of a sudden, these guys put their arm around you and say, "We believe in you. You know, we know you can do this. That's why we hired you." And these guys welcomed me with open arms, and now we're off and running. And we got, you know, all these guys, all these 8 guys, and there's like 4 or 5 others that we use to alternate and understudy. And it really is a team, and it's been a wonderful experience for me.
It's a real tricky role that you play actually 2 people.
Well,
you know, I mean,
I think
2 characters.
As Lamont mentioned, it's the arc of one character.
It's the arc of one character.
I think my character is very. If you saw a white officer in the military during that time, I don't think he would had been in favor of this experiment, bringing the African Americans into the Army. So I think you see that when I first come on stage. You know, I want no part of these guys. I want to see them fail, and I don't think they can achieve it. And yet over time, without giving too much away, you know, my feelings change, and they earn my respect, and rightfully so, because they're very talented.
But see, I think that's the crux of your role. I mean, as a white commanding officer of a black experiment, I, as an audience person, was almost prone to not like you before you opened your mouth.
No question about it. I get that all the time. I have people, when the show's over and we meet with them, they're like, "I didn't like you. I didn't like you." And I said, "All right, then I did my job."
That's right.
Then they say, "Well, at the end."
But no, you even at the beginning, you proved that you were hard, but you were fair. You didn't believe, but you were fair, and at the end, had to respect you, you know, and that gets back to the character development thing. You could have written the white guy in a whole bunch of different ways, you know. You could have made him a minor role, a pain in the butt. You could have done a lot of things, but all of the characters in this play really developed as people of immense respect, and that goes to your ability. I'm really impressed with you.
Thank you.
Obviously, you know, we really, you know, we're cheerleaders.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Very much.
You do, I can tell. I really appreciate you guys. You're amazing. There are a couple of people who have been hanging out in the wings. Would you like to talk? Would you like to say something?
Well, you know, I'll speak. I came, Steve and I joined them. I'm New York based as well, so these guys, and Melvin and I started April 1st. So
that's my birthday.
Mine too, actually.
Really?
Yeah. All right, we'll talk after that.
April 1st.
But you know, it was.
It's a Fool's Day.
Yeah, it's a Fool's Day, right?
Yeah. It's a fool. It's a fool born every moment.
But you know, I had come to see the show several times because I had a friend that was in it prior, and that's how I met these guys. But it was pressure, you know, because they were up and running well. You know what I mean? And like it's like double Dutch rope that's going really fast, and you got to jump in and not lose stride, as Steve said, and you know, you feel you know, devoted to them and what they've already achieved, so you don't want to let the ball drop. So you stepped in, and what is great and what I like about Leon's work is that he expects you to come in as an artist. You know, there's a lot of people that says, okay, I want you here, 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 but their process, he allows you to come in with something. He expects you to come in with something. And if you don't come in with something, you might, you know, you might not last, but, you know, it's that freedom to create, you know, and I mean, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful environment, and they accept you, as Steve said, as brothers, and you can come in, you can play, you create, add your flavor to what their mix already is, and it just keeps making the pot, you know, juicier.
Yeah, so, I think Thaddeus makes a great point, because, you know, there are some directors and writers who, you know, that word is on the page. That's what they want to hear, and that's it.
That's too bad.
And as understudies and alternates, which is what Melvin and Thaddeus and I and D-Rob started as, You know, he didn't exactly say, I want you to be just like the guy that came before you. I want you to be you, and you create your character. And he allowed us to do that, and I think it's worked to everybody's benefit, and not every director would allow you to do that. So it gives us some freedom, as Thaddeus points out, and I think it adds to the product.
Yeah. Especially a writer who, a writer who's in the show and has directed the show.
Yeah.
And usually, it's very rare to find someone that lets you be that free, because it's theirs and they're very protective of it. So if you whatever you bring, a lot of times they don't want you to do it. But in this process, it was just.
Well, that speaks the very fact that this is such a outrageously profound play speaks to the style that you have permitted in your directing. Not just the content, which is outstanding, but apparently the directing is something we're learning to have a deeper appreciation for as a result of what's going on here.
You know what, Shanti? It's because, I'm an actor. A lot of people didn't know I could act. When I say I won't put myself in my play, like, well, I don't know you. But I was an actor first, and where I was trained, coming from, I work with directors who allow you to get on stage and try things and explore and find it for yourself. And in my style, I like doing that. I'm like, let me see what you come here with. Get on stage, let's see. Because if you do something that I like, we'll keep it. That way it makes it natural for the actors. That's why everything looks more natural. A lot of stuff that's in the play now, a lot of actors just added in just their little movements and stuff. We kept it. So I can't take all the credit. Even though, where's the camera?
Oh, boy.
I should.
Even though I will.
But, it was
he's got his boundaries, too. He checks us every day, like, don't do that. Don't say that. Stop doing this.
He definitely is a camera lover.
But that's part of the fun, too, is the exploration, and that's where,
the main work. It's about fun. I like to create a fun environment so actors can come and have fun, because I'm an actor, and I love to get on stage
stretch the envelope
and have
here
fun.
and there.
I would say
sometimes he has to reel us back.
Yeah, right. But I would say, we as actors, we got the best job in the world. We get to have fun every day and be whatever we want to be.
It's hilarious. Just yesterday, at the end of the show, downstairs in the dressing room, we have this, I guess, ballet's mirror that like spans the whole length of the dressing room. And so I was walking back upstage to get ready to do the curtain call, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I have on like this flight suit and a hat, and I'm like, I'm at work. This is what I do. Like, cats wear business ties and suits. I got on a flight suit and a hat. You gotta love it.
I find it hard to believe you stopped to look in the mirror.
I definitely thought that's
Tom wouldn't do that.
Sing a song to himself.
Narcissistic. He wouldn't do that.
And I have a couple of questions. The first one I want to address to David, since you're pretty much like the new Jack of the posse over here. Now, I have seen you before, and I knew you were like dynamite waiting to explode. How did you hook up with these cats? How did they find you, or you find them?
Well, I actually saw.
He was on fire. He was on fire. Literally in pain. I mean, how could you miss the fire?
Well, I actually saw one of Leon's plays about a year ago, entitled "We Be Ami," and I loved that play. And I thought to myself, man, if whatever I can do to be down with these guys, I want to do it. And I heard about this piece, and I really knew that this was definitely the chance.
Right.
But they were already packed up, they were already cast. So someone had sent me an email saying that they were looking for alternates. So I said, wow, this is it. But I was already in a play. But it turned out that the audition was, I think you guys were running late night, like up to 11 o'clock or something for your auditions. So I was able to come out of my rehearsal and go to his audition. And thank God, I'm still here.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And he's a multi-dimensional brother, too.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
That's the thing about this
I
whole
saw
crew,
him
man. All these
become
cats
a
got
girl,
other gifts and skills.
black
You got a whole nother writer. You got a whole nother writer and director here.
Right.
Some of these guys are fathers and husbands. I mean, D-Rob's a poet.
Right.
You've never seen him spit. You should.
D-Black,
You might have a tight white shirt on.
Here we go.
Let's just say thank God he got those tight white shirts. That's an inside joke.
Oh, we rib each other all the time. You know, you can be next, so be careful.
Another question. Now, I followed like a lot of you brothers' careers, and many of you are exceptional screen actors. Now, that's a completely different world from theater. I mean, the mic, you don't have a mic, you don't have a money shot. Theater is very linear. Film is like very non-linear. How do you know that a cat who's good in front of a camera can dominate a stage? I mean,
well, most of them aren't.
Right. I was two seconds saying.
I'm just joking.
I'm
just joking. No, but you know that's the whole audition process. You know, you take them, you know, through 2, 3. How many auditions you went through? No, but I'm saying it goes through one. Then he auditioned and we didn't call him back for 2 months later. Right. So it's a process. You know, you just you weed it out because you know a lot of it's 2 different mediums, like you say. You know, film is more personal. You know, theater is more external. So it's just a matter of you know basically you know believing in yourself and hoping that. I try not to cast filmed actors. You know, I love stage and trained actors, and those actors who aren't trained but come and give an incredible audition and know the stage and know the movement. Because I work very fast when I direct, so I want someone who's familiar with the stage. So in answering your question, you know, it's just a feel for it. Like you know, Rucker, he's on TV all the time.
I know.
And there's a lot of times I gotta tell Rucker, speed it up now, come on, let's get it.
All you guys with your little Tyler Perry superstar thing going on. I don't have to.
Now let me just ask one other broad question because I'm going to have to wind it down. I understand that Leon is going to be, believe it or not, doing another play tonight called All American Girls, and it's at the same theater. Theater of the Absurd. I mean,
we're all in that too.
We're stretching ourselves.
That's
you want to say some acting?
That's really stretching you.
That's acting.
Some of the stuff that you said in this dialogue, or whatever we call this wonderful conversation, actually has me thinking about what's going on here at MNN Studios. We really do work as a team. We really do, and and like Shakespeare said, the world is a stage, and we're just participating as actors. And actually, I become much more aware of this profundity because we are constantly moving from scene to scene to scene. That's a great thing you do in the play, by the way. Scenes just roll on, and it's a very nice way of handling scenes. It's a beautiful way. But Leon has to leave, and we're not going to go on without him. The show must go on, but without him, no, it's not going to go on. So I just want to know if there's anything that anybody hasn't said that they'd like to say, because we'd love to hear from, yes, you can say something.
I put you on the spot. Oh, my bad. Sure did. I mean, I don't really have anything to say. Everybody's pretty much said it already. I mean, it's a good show. We got some good ingredients, and the thing that's really made the show really rock, as well it has, in my opinion, is that even when we've done shifting and brought in new actors or what have you, it still adds to the gumbo. It's kind of adding on to what Thaddeus was saying, the juice. I call it gumbo. It's the different ingredients in that gumbo that makes it good. And sometimes you can put different things in there and mix it up differently. It'll taste a little different, but it still can be good. You know? People don't, no one does the roles the same as someone else that may have done that same role, but we are keeping it together as that same gumbo, and it's good. And I'm liking that. I'm enjoying the whole experience of being out here in New York and meeting all these gentlemen that we've met, and it's been a beautiful experience. It's been really good. So my hat goes off to Leon as well for providing us the medium to do such a thing.
My hat goes off to everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Leon, are you doing another play after this?
Yeah, there's a play called All American Girls, and it's about the first all African American female baseball team. So both of these plays are running in repertoire at the Actors, what's the camera? Temple. It's the Actors Temple Theater in Manhattan. So you can find out about Black Angels Over Tuskegee at blackangelsovertuskegee.com. Again, that's blackangelsovertuskegee.com, or allamericangirlsplay.com. All American Girls Play.
And that's on 47th Street.
47th Street between 8th and 9th.
9th Avenue.
Yes.
And you know what? I also would like to
add.
I would like to add, if
Sure,
that's okay.
please.
In addition to the play that we have going on right now, Black Angels Over Tuskegee at the Actors Temple, we're preparing for a 2011 tour to various cities throughout the country. Correct. This group, as well as some of the original cast members that are in Los Angeles.
Sure.
So keep an eye out on us. Again, that's blackangelsovertuskegee.com. What is it again?
blackangelsovertuskegee.com.
And actually, you know what?
Yeah, don't forget the
today,
link.
we just, I'm sorry. Okay, you go.
Today,
It's your show.
I'll get to you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Today was an extra special day for us. In addition to being able to come to your show, we had an opportunity to perform for the New York Jets.
Oh, yeah,
That was a
great,
wonderful experience.
How
The
did that
entire
go?
team, as well as the coaches, came through.
I'll let you know how wonderful it is after the season is over.
As Super Bowl champs.
Right, then we'll take some credit. At least the AFC championship.
Right.
But you know what? I will say that it was wonderful to see these 6'9", 6'8" men crying. I mean, on stage. I don't know if I can say that.
Yeah, without giving too much away.
But they were very touched by the piece.
Oh, I love the Jets. I've been.
Speaking of working with these 6'9" guys, Nat has a program that he does every week. It's called Community Cops. And it's a black group of cops, or a group of black cops, I should say.
Wow.
And they're big guys. I mean, they are unbelievably big.
We try not to get these guys killed. We just want them to do this thing.
But the question that I want to ask you before I relinquish you to the next. Say it again?
Yeah.
You should bring them to the show.
Excellent.
Oh, that's what we're attempting to do. Yes, absolutely.
Nice
That's
full group.
Yeah, and they can afford it. I mean, it's really.
We'll call a union.
No, we don't have to give comps to everybody. What I was really wanting to get to was, you're so prolific. I mean, 2 plays, even if it's not Broadway.
Yeah.
2 plays. That's another question I wanted to ask. But let me just say, are you thinking of another play that you're got in the melting pot? Always.
Always. Like the next piece for these gentlemen that I'm working on, it's called the Harlem Wrens, and it's about an all-black basketball team in 1935 who rocked Harlem, who beat the Celtics. These guys went 100-0, and a lot of people don't know about this team during the Harlem Renaissance. So I'm working on that piece. We're looking for that one to debut, hopefully, here in New York in March.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And we'll come straight to you guys when we start it off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You give me something to look forward to.
Wonderful.
Okay, gentlemen, it's been absolutely
Thank you for having us.
extraordinary. Thank you.
I'd also like to add that if there are when there are inquiries or there's interest to come and see us, we're accepting groups, school groups, again, organizations that want to come as groups, as the Jets organization did. So all of that, all PR inquiries and all that, you can also email us at blackgentspr@gmail.com.
Gotcha.
As well. So, definitely taking the opportunity, and we've done that. We've done a
I'm
lot of
sure
that.
if you can't remember how to spell Tuskegee or any of that, if you just go to your search engine and pop in Black Angels or something like that, sooner or later.
Yeah, it'll pop up.
It'll pop up.
Yeah, we got T-shirts, got all kind of stuff.
Oh, right.
Merchandise.
Very nice.
And you guys got on board.
Shanti,
You got on board early because we are headed to Broadway, hopefully. In the
Yes,
not too
I'm glad you
distant-
picked up on that
too distant
because
future.
And in your honor,
we just have to
have my shirt says forward.
All right. And in your honor, I wore this one, by the way. It's called
Convergence.
Harmonic Convergence.
Okay.
All right. I mean, I thought about which shirt shall I pull out of the. And nobody commented.
In their repertoire.
All right.
This guy is lovely. Yeah, you're the
No,
one
I'm one of the things that, bringing that up, it's very important about how to get this onto Broadway, don't you think? I mean, how does that work? How do you get it onto Broadway? You have to have
We need 9 million.
Yeah,
Shanti.
If you can rack that together.
Why don't
If you can rake that
Why don't
together.
you run for senator? You
Yeah,
get
run for
it.
senator. No, you know, investors come and say they believe in the project. You know, I mean, I have all of the material, and we're looking for those investors and sponsors to come and support.
Okay, let me ask you what's going on in the
paying our dues.
last few months that you've been doing this play. What's the membership or the audience?
Audience is great, and it's always, and it's interesting because there's a lot of people who've seen it, keep coming back, keep bringing people back. This place become a word of mouth here in New York. It's like
Are you getting a lot of white people?
Oh, yeah. Out of state
A lot of white people.
Some wonderful diversity age-wise as well.
That's what I'm interested in, because if you want to get a play on Broadway, you obviously have to have a large contingent of whites.
Well, when we first started back in January, we were leading into the Black History Month. During Black History Month, it was a large number of African Americans that would come to the show. But since then, the numbers of white members coming to the show has increased, and now we're getting somewhere close to half and half in the audience, which is a beautiful thing because, and they're coming to us after the show just like everyone else, saying, they love the play, they're crying. I mean, they're in it the same way, which let us know that although we're talking about African American men that were struggling and fighting to do something, it is a universal story. It's a universal ideal to try to overcome, and I think they're getting that. And I think the reason they're getting that is because of the way Leon put the script down and put the words down, and the way these gentlemen really believe in what they're talking about.
Yeah, and that's very key, because I want to make sure that just to reiterate that, is just because you see an ensemble of predominantly African American men, this is not just the black experience. This is not only for black folks.
American history.
What people call this particular story in particular is really American history. It
American
has
history.
international ramifications and implications as far as the success and accomplishments of these men. These are American heroes. The principles and the themes throughout this play apply to more than just our African American community. So this is definitely something for everybody, all ages, multiple generations, and it's child friendly, all of that.
Let me ask you two guys, because you see things in New York at every level, on Broadway and off Broadway. You've seen our show. Is this show a quality of Broadway stage?
Oh yes.
Oh, absolutely.
And I also find I'm getting a rap cue. But for the record, I've also found that for some strange reason, the challenge in theater, especially when you hit a certain level, is more to get a black audience to support the theater, whereas in film, the challenge is to get a white audience to support black film endeavors. So it's a strange kind of. I think theater people are more sophisticated. They are really more about the art. So
but it's also access. You got to remember, it's access. I mean, if a movie ticket costs $10 and a theater ticket costs $100, I mean, that's simple math, you know. So a lot of it is also that. So what we have always tried to do with our work is to be accessible and affordable to the community. We're part of that community, so our outreach is, another dynamic of that. But you're right. I mean, and there's plenty of documents, to support that.
The
But
young lady is screaming at me to
All
wrap
right.
you guys up. We'll talk about that more in detail at some other time. But,
Thank y'all for having us again.
You're very welcome. Having you, it's really extraordinary the way this conversation just didn't want to end. I mean, it was 10 minutes ago we were wrapping it up.
But we're going to end it now.
So thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Bravo, bravo.
All right.
Good.
Don't get hung up.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
You be pulling your tail again.
I
couldn't get my
I couldn't
get my mind off that one.
I
started doing this. I was like,
oh,
y'all cats try to break it. You don't understand.
That way. I really wasn't.
The first time I was good, but then when I saw him whipping around, I was like, oh no.
So I didn't cry.
I broke.
I said, I couldn't possibly cry again. I mean, I keep crying. I think about it and I cry. Talk about it and I cry.
Nice. Let it out. Let it out. That's
no, it is so moving. It is so powerful. I mean, it's done so sensitive.
I did have a good time.
All right, cool. Free.
Thank you.
All right, excellent, 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 excellent. All right. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Big brother. All right, it's good, man. It's good.
Amateur operation I've ever
Yeah, no, you.